that was your mother? What if it was somebody you loved?
Right. What about, I don't know, what's the point of
Okay,
that?
they have these directed energy weapons, and I usually don't go here that's a subject. I
So
usually
they
just
intentionally started the fire in paradise.
they intentionally evaporated all those houses.
Evaporated.
Well,
You're saying
microwave.
The fire,
They use microwave energy.
and you're saying the fire had nothing to do with it. That was just a smoke screen so they could
Have you
practice on a
studied
weapon.
have you looked at the fires at all? Have you looked at paradise?
Why would I?
Why?
I'm trying to understand
Right.
your point. You just have these statements, but I'm trying to specifically
I'm trying to
understand.
find something that you can relate to, and
I can relate to anything.
Well, no, you relate to everything,
Well,
and that's
okay,
not
so
pinning down anything.
Paradise. So you're saying paradise? The fires were started to wipe out the homes
Yeah,
intentionally, and the fire was just a
and there were hundreds of people
ancillary
killed.
cause of it.
Could have been up to 53,000 people killed.
Well, why would they have done that?
This is what I'm telling you.
You haven't told me anything. Why would they do that? They don't have to. A weapon of that magnitude doesn't have to be focused on a house of a population to destroy them, unless they wanted them all to leave because there's uranium underneath the ground. Why would they do that?
Why would you say uranium?
It's an example
That's
of something
interesting.
of valuable underneath the ground.
Well, that is a theory as to why they did it, but there's also a theory about a railway they wanted to put through there. There's also the timber. There's also lots of theories because we don't know.
The timber's all gone because of the fire.
No, it's not.
Well, a large chunk of it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
See, this is what you're missing, is the paradise fires, the houses went and the timber was not touched. See, if you just look a little bit.
It was a pretty big fire.
Well, there's a couple that have been out there. If you look at them, just look at a couple of them, and they start the fires to distract from what they're actually doing.
That may well be true.
So if you start looking into some of this stuff, you might think, well, what the heck is going on here? And then you might wake up your neighbor.
It doesn't matter.
And you might say something to your neighbor.
Not enough people that.
Do you love anybody?
No, not that I care. If they're all dead, who cares? Everybody dies.
Oh, well, see, then we have no basis. You have to love humanity.
No, humanity's worthless.
Well, see.
Actually, when I die, that's funny you say that, because I want my gravestone to say, "I'm glad I'm dead. The ineptitude of humanity was killing me anyway."
See, I'm out here because I love humanity.
We're worthless.
Yeah.
We can't get out of our own way.
Then we have nothing to talk about.
What you're doing is so far at the top of the scale. You can't even get people to vote.
Top of the scale of what?
Of extreme concept, thought, reality. You can't even get people to get involved
in voting.
Vote.
Okay.
How are you going to get people
So, if they're going to lie about the ball, do you think they're...
No, lie about everything. No,
excuse me, I have a statement to make here. So if they're going to be lying about this ball and the earth that we live on, why wouldn't they lie about the vote?
I'm sure they do. I have no doubt.
Then why is voting important?
Because if every single person in the world votes, and to some extent, if everybody's involved, if humanity is involved, if the populace controls the government the way we're supposed to, that's what it's there for. We're here to put people in place to control and oversee things. If we're not even involved on the lowest level of doing that, we can never do any of this, because these thoughts.
So you got it totally backwards. See, what happens is, no voting really matters. They select presidents; they don't elect them.
To some extent,
if you understood this,
then what's the understand?
Then well, these are factual things that you can research yourself.
Right.
And if you understood this, then you would question everything that was going on.
Sure.
Then you would know that voting doesn't matter, and that the only change that could ever come is if we get the people to get together.
Right, but you can't even get people to vote.
If
regardless, let's say your point is valid.
My point is
every vote.
They don't know that we're being lied to. That's the point.
Oh, everybody. If you don't deserve to live if you don't know you're being lied to.
So is the earth a globe or is it flat?
It doesn't matter.
See, you don't know anything.
But it doesn't matter.
You don't know.
How do you prove it?
I can prove it
How
to
can
you,
you prove it?
but you don't have an open mind enough to even
Of course I
listen.
have an open mind. How is the Earth flat? Other than your
Okay.
example of the curvature formula example, that I would have to see it for myself to believe it.
Okay, well, I went down to Wildwood and took a P1000 Nikon, and I was videotaping Atlantic City, 32.6 miles away. That should be hidden under 680 feet of curvature.
Okay.
So there's no curvature. And I did it myself. There's a lot of places, 102 miles away, Caprea. That should be under 6,936 feet. You know what, that's like 7 miles.
Right.
No.
Okay. So back to
No,
my
that's
point.
a mile.
Now,
1 mile
even
there.
if all this is true,
37,000.
you can't even
yes.
for them, everybody to buy into this. You can't even buy into getting people involved in the lowest level.
If everybody understood
well, no,
that
they don't
this,
care. People don't care.
I'll tell you what, I go to colleges and I bring up this information, and they're
that's
interested.
Kids. That's children. For the exact same
No.
reason they're interested.
It's people who are thinking.
For the exact same reason those children are interested is the same reason a government can get children to enlist and go fight a war. They're ignorant, they're idealistic, and easily manipulated.
So what do you think about the military? Should we be sending our children off to war?
In some cases, yes.
Like weapons of mass destruction
Well,
that they never found?
Of course.
Yeah, so it's a lie.
Right.
And we go
Well,
off.
not everything's a lie, but everything
we
we
go
do,
off to
everything,
get killed and kill other people.
Let's put it this way. Everything we probably go to war for, we shouldn't, because it's all based on control and manipulation and money so that we can control other governments and other aspects of the world. It has nothing to do with protecting who went to who's going to what's the country where they're killing, the African countries where people are just slaughtering other races. Do we go in there and stop that? No, because we have
Zimbabwe,
nothing to gain.
Rwanda.
Yeah, we have nothing to gain, so we don't go.
South Africa.
Right.
Yeah, well, guess what? Those people are being told lies. And then they go out and kill, thinking they're going to be killed.
Who?
In
Well,
Did you
sure.
ever
But I
read
mean,
about Zimbabwe?
Well, yeah, everybody's lied to. I mean, look at...
Do you really know anything? I mean, really?
Like what?
Like anything.
You ask me a question and then you'll know your answer.
No, do you know anything, or you just like to gloss over?
Do I know anything? Sure,
You gloss over everything that we've talked about, but you don't really know. You never looked deeply into anything.
Not to the point that I could say the Earth is flat or round, no.
Okay, well then you really know nothing. You don't care about anything, so you're...
Right, but I can't believe you until I would do all that research.
I don't care if you believe me. I'm just here to show you the evidence, and you got to figure it out for yourself. And if it matters, if truth matters to you, you'll look into it. If truth does not matter to you, there's 10 things on here.
No, I understand.
And a website. You may keep this and take it with you.
Right.
All right. Well, then, if you don't want to interested, then go on your merry way.
I am interested.
No, I think you're just bloviating. I think you're bloviating. You just want to talk and...
Just all of these
I'm not
things.
interested in that. I want to talk to real humans who love people.
Yeah, people are...
There, see you go.
The
Have a nice
more
day.
important.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, why do people matter?
Bye-bye.
Have a nice night.
Come on, girls, your turn. You got a question, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. What's the question?
Where are all the planets if there's no space?
Yeah. Well, guess what? The planets have only been called planets for maybe 60 years. Well, maybe a little bit more. Not long at all. They were always called wandering stars.
But wouldn't that still be in space?
No. No. Outer space. All right. Here's the thing about space. Space, they say it's a vacuum. That's what they say. Outer space is a vacuum, right? And yet we have air pressure here on the planet. The planet. on Earth, okay? So you cannot have a no pressure and pressure next to each other
Well, like, there's the ozone.
without a physical barrier. It has to be physical. Ozone is just a gas. There has to be a
barrier.
physical barrier. There has to be a dome. There has to be. You can't have two pressure systems next to each other that they don't blend and mix. Okay, so what's going to happen? Everything that you know of as stars or planets, the stars are embedded in the dome because they all turn like this. Here's the star trails right there. That's what happens. Okay, you open your aperture to the Polaris star, the pole star, and you will get this pattern, star trails. The stars are embedded in the dome, and the dome turns above us. Okay, so
It'd still be kind of round though. If we're in a dome.
yeah, the dome would be rounded, sure,
But like,
but not the Earth.
when you're walking, can't you just walk off the Earth?
Well,
Like, what do you follow the space?
well,
But space is here.
I know,
Yeah, so where do you fall?
and cats would push everything off, right? That's another thing I get told. Oh, if it were really flat, the cat would have pushed everything off, like a table. Cats push things off tables. Okay. So, no, Antarctica is at the edge. That's what Antarctica looks like, and that goes around the edge. And we are not allowed to go and free explore Antarctica ever since 1959, before you were born. But I was born in 55. So, and I was a little baby. They formed the Antarctic Treaty and said you can't go there without being escorted. You pay thousands of dollars, they hold your hand. They do not allow it. So they are lying to us about the shape of Antarctica. Because look, all these world organizations, they leave it off.
But like, it's because like parts of Antarctica are
Too
dangerous because it's so cold.
That's what they tell you, right? And then
Yeah, but,
you're,
like, you can get.
and now wait, they tell you that. You have no personal experience. You never went there. You're just hearing what they're telling you, and you think, I don't want to go there
But why would
because
they
it's
lie about
cold.
it?
Why would they lie?
There's
Yeah,
no
like,
point
what's the
in lying.
benefit?
There's no
'Cause,
point
like,
in
they
lying.
originally thought it was flat, but then
Really?
they discovered it was round.
So why do people lie?
To like get their way.
To get something that they're not supposed to have, probably. They can't legitimately get something, so they lie and they get it that way.
But have you flown in an airplane? Like, you can see the roundness of the Earth.
Really?
Yeah, when you're in an airplane.
Okay. So at some point, if you go out this way, it has to drop. Right?
Yeah. 'cause
So
you're
we have a
flying.
curvature formula. So you can take this down to smaller amounts. Instead of thousands of miles, you can come down to maybe 180, 60 miles. That should be hidden, and it's not. And look at this. You know what this is?
Water.
Yes! Wow, that's great. So, so this represents all water. No matter what you do to it, it's always flat on the top. And you can always tell that
Because of gravity.
that's level. I'll
That's
get to
air-
gravity in
that's
just a
like
second.
Air pressure.
So water is always level with each other. The oceans, which are 73% of our Earth, they all touch each other. So they all have to be level with each other.
There's waves.
There's waves, that's right. And that's why you get,
From the moon.
that's tides.
Well, it's the same.
But it's not the same thing. See, now this is funny to you because you really haven't looked into this and studied it and understand these things. But this is really a serious subject. Because if you ever have children and there's a war, they're going to send your son off to war. And you're going to get your son killed or maimed, and he's going to suffer greatly because of a lie. And I never want that to happen to my son, my child. So this is very important to me because I don't want anybody's son to hurt, to die, and get suffering like that. I think it's horrible. So I love humanity, and doesn't God say that we're supposed to love? And he said he's the way and the truth and the life, right? Okay, so Jesus is truth. Truth equals Jesus. Are you seeking Jesus? Are you seeking truth? Are you seeking Jesus?
Yeah.
Then you have to seek truth. You have to find the truth of this. if there's a heliocentric model, which is the sun in the middle and everything's going around it, or if there's the Earth with the dome, you have to figure out which is true. That's your job as a Christian, okay? So this is what they teach in the schools. The sun is moving and all the planets and everything, and that's what you see there. But this is what reality is. So I reject that, and I go with what reality is. Reality also is a straight line on a flat surface. Look, it goes right on the table. And that's what reality is. And the little waves, you see a little dark part because the light does not go over the curve in any way. But if it was really curved, you'd only get a little spot of light. But see, there's a lot to this, and I really want you to look in. Did I give you a card in one of these things before?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go on this website, you'll see some videos. You go there and you'll see one called 200 Proofs. Now it's 2 hours long, and I know you can't sit that long because you're a teenager. But take it in bits and pieces. Watch 15 minutes, watch a half hour, and write down what it says and say, oh my gosh, what is that? And then go look and ask questions. What is that? Can I find out more about that? Perspective is one of those things you'll have to study. You can ask your art teacher about that. Do they still have art class at school?
I don't.
I had to do a picture in one point.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's awesome. Because look, these railroad tracks, you know they keep continuing, but you can't see it. It's all how our eyes work, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. When you only have two planes coming together, the sky and the ocean, then it's a vanishing line, not a vanishing point. Did your art teacher say about that?
Yeah.
So when the ships go over the curve, they're really just going into the vanishing line. Because we get the zoom camera, we can look at them again.
That doesn't explain when you're on an airplane, like you can see the curve of the Earth.
Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things about that. First off, the airplane windows, there's 3 layers in an airplane window. Okay, so they are curved on the ends and they distort things. So it could show you that. The second thing about that is, you know in your mind, oh, we live on a ball. I'm supposed to see curvature. So when I look out the window, oh, I guess that's curved, when it really isn't. See, you're not like being objective. You are subjected. You've been told what it is, and that's what you believe, then you're going to make things fit that paradigm. That's part of the other thing that you're doing. But when we look out, we see a straight line. See, no matter where you are, if you're on this globe, I'm on Australia, okay, you're standing straight up in Australia. Everything from that point goes down. No matter where you are on a globe, you're on top of the world because everything should go down. Because gravity says it pulls to the center of the ball, okay? So the curvature is part of the gravity definition, okay? Excuse me. So if I can prove to you that there's no curvature, then gravity's out of the picture. There is no gravity.
Then how are we not floating?
Okay, so I've already showed you that there's no curvature this way, but did you know that there's a Bonneville lake that was a salt lake and it dried up? And now we have the Bonneville Salt Flats. Did you ever hear that? That's where they do all those high-speed, car tests and whatnot. Because it's flat. Nothing will crash into it. It won't crash into anything.
You're saying the entire Earth's flat.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Well, then why can't you just test it on the entire Earth?
We do. We do.
But we're downhill right now.
Well, this is a land feature. It's not, ground is different. But if you take 73% of something is a majority. So the majority is all water and it's all flat. Now a lake could be at a higher elevation, but it's still going to be flat. See, wherever the oceans are connected, and that's like the Suez Canal and all of that, that's all the same sea level. Sea level, you ever hear that? Sea level. So it is, it's all level.
Because that's just how the water flows. Water flows from, it wants to settle.
It does.
So even if
Yeah.
there's stuff,
Look, she guessed this correctly. What's this?
that's the ocean.
That's water. And that represents the ocean. No matter what you do to this bottle, it's going to seek its own level.
Yeah, but that's just how physics works with water.
Yes.
It doesn't
Because
mean
of gravity.
it doesn't really
No,
mean
not
that,
because of gravity. I just proved to you gravity can't exist.
Well, if there wasn't any gravity, then how would that?
Okay?
How would something fall to the ground?
Okay,
or
I agree that things
around?
fall. I agree. That's just common sense. Things fall. But why? Why do they fall?
Because they're being pulled to the core.
That's what you think, but I just proved to you that it can't be a pull down because there's no curvature. So it could be this. We live inside a torus field. Torus field is electromagnetic. Did you ever hear them?
Yes.
Awesome. Love it. So this is the North Pole. So that's why we get the aurora borealis. The electricity comes up out of the North Pole and it excites the elements in the lower atmosphere. Then it comes up and around, and we have free-flowing electricity up there about 400 feet. So that's what I was just telling somebody about the church. I'll get into cymatics in a second here. But it could be diamagnetism, which is a push down because of the electric field. It could be a push down and not a pull down. That's what I offer as an alternative. Okay? But we have to figure out if that's true or not. So we have a lot
You
of...
have to prove it.
Yeah, well, and you're not going to get any government organizations to do that because they're all controlled. You want the big bucks? You don't ever talk about this.
Well, why would all the governments lie?
You think if it
On
was,
the-
you think at least one government out there would say
Well,
that would recognize it nationally?
yes, yeah. How about the governments that have been taken over, like Libya and Gaddafi? They killed him. You know why? He built the man-made river. He loved his people, and they bombed the man-made river. Now, why would they do something like that? That's just evil. It's evil. Our governments are filled with people that are descended from the kings.
Well, from any way you look at things, things could be evil because there's always two sides. So,
So you think that just killing people is...
I never said that.
Okay.
People was good.
Because we are a culture of life. The Christianity culture is a culture of life. And the rulers and the kings were a culture of death, like Vlad the Impaler. And the kings wanted their power and control, and they cared nothing for humanity. They interbred, and I think they lost part of their humanity, like their empathy and compassion. So all they want is money, control, power. And that messes with your mind. And if you've ever looked into that, it really does.
There's people in this world that we agree are bad. Like we can all agree that Kim Jong-un is bad. You agree with that?
Okay.
But then again, he also has, you can also look at it a different way that he has helped out his people somehow. There's also multiple leaders that they've done good things, but they're still bad.
And what does the Bible say about that? Haven't I done all these good things in your name? And Jesus says, get thee behind me, I never knew you. It's all about the heart condition. It's what is in your heart. I am here. Why am I here? Because I love humanity and I want to just tell them the truth, and you have to decide for yourself what is true. Because if you are a Christian, you must seek truth. Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So Jesus is equivalent to truth. It's not just true that he came on the earth and died on a cross. That's not the whole of it. The whole of it is that Jesus is equal to truth. He is truth everywhere in everything that we find truth. We are seeking truth. You have to look under a rock to find truth. That's Jesus right there. Because it is Jesus that will set us free. Truth will set us free. It's all of that. It's more than the churches are telling us. Speaking of the churches, let me clue you in on something. I noticed the round windows, and it's kind of behind that tree there, and there's one over here. And I saw on the cornerstone that they carved in there 1855. Is that what they put on there?
Yeah, I think that's
Okay, and this is a newer part of the building. But yeah, those round windows, do you know about cymatics? The churches, we're finding the churches were really healing centers. Sanctuary, meaning when there was something wrong, you could go to the sanctuary, and the energy that building put off would be healing. I mean, physically healing. Now the spires And you know that the Notre Dame was burned down.
Yep.
Okay, that was no accident. That beautiful spire that was on there, that came down, and that was so ornate. It's an energy collector. The old churches were energy collectors on them, and they would give off a vibration. And there was this woman who did a study, and she took her very sensitive equipment and measured the energy in the churches. And there's a lot about sound technology, that sound waves can heal you. I told this woman up here, she had a bumblebee on her table. I said, did you know the bumblebees cannot aerodynamically fly?
They should not be able to fly.
So how do they do that? It's not just will. Their wings, did you ever hear them come up close to you and you go, ooh, what's that? They let off a sound. Sound vibrations can levitate. Study that one. That is an awesome study to look into. Yeah. And so the bumblebee creates this sound and it defies gravity, and it levitates itself. And that's all like an electromagnetic thing. And I know you girls are like, what are they talking about? But just start looking into some of this stuff, because just if you don't accept this, look into some of the things I'm saying, because it'll make you so much smarter and you'll understand the world around you by looking into it. Seasons?
Earth rotating.
No, well, that's the heliocentric model. So you have to decide, are you going to accept that for your life, or are you going to maybe look at something else and see what's true?
Are you saying that we revolve around the sun, or does it solve the sun?
Well, the heliocentric means helios is the sun, centric means it's in the center. So that's heliocentric model. That's what you're taught with the globe and in school, okay? Yeah. It's all a big accident. The Big Bang is a big accident. Okay, but I say that this is a created situation. We live in an electromagnetic environment. The sun could be as close as 10 miles. And I put that out there kind of a little bit for shock factor, but also because it could be true.
Like,
you can take this home and look at it and see what we're talking about.
Like, you look at the sun and like it damages you because it's so hot.
That's what they tell you. I've looked straight at the sun. Did you know there's sun gazers?
But like you get spots in your eyes and there's like skin cancer and all from the sun.
Well, that's what they tell you. Did you know that the sunscreens cause the cancer? Yeah, I'm giving you an alternative to all this stuff you're saying. All this stuff you've been taught has another way of looking at it.
So wait, hold on, let me get this straight. So you're saying because you can stare at the sun, that means it's 10 miles away? Because,
I'm saying it's different than what you're being told. It's not a ball of hot burning gases. I think it's a filament.
That's what it is.
No.
That's what it's proven.
You don't know. No. How can you prove that?
Because we've gone there. And
no, we have never gone to the sun, number one.
Well, yeah, because it burns at 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's what you've been told. Everything you've been told, question everything. I
question everything, and I find out the truth for myself.
Okay, so when you, do you think that just turning this 23 degrees is going to make this winter up here and this summer? Sun is looking here. You think just turning it that 23.5 degrees is going to make this a different season?
It's not that. It's not that close together. The sun directs on
that. They're saying in the heliocentric model, the reason for the seasons is direct and indirect rays.
Yes.
That's their cause.
Yes.
No, I think the sun is very close. North Pole's in the center. This is the Tropic of Cancer. The sun goes around. Okay, then in June 21st, it goes down here to the equator. And then September is June, July, August. September is the equinox. March and September is equinox.
How does it move?
And then it goes down to Capricorn. When it's in Capricorn, it goes much faster. And if you talk to somebody in Australia, they'll tell you that it really goes fast down there. So, what was the question?
The whole thing with the universe is we're spinning. Can we agree that we're spinning?
No.
That we're rotating?
No, we do not.
How is
That's you're talking heliocentric. I'm talking flat Earth. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a different model here. Okay.
So you're saying Earth is here, sun, moon.
Yeah, just like this.
Okay.
And it goes above us.
with that, you're saying the moon is relatively the same size as the sun.
Yes.
So how come when we look up at the moon at night, can we agree that the sun is much bigger?
No.
That it looks like it's much bigger than the moon.
No, you put a sun filter, get a sun filter on your camera, take a picture. They have sun filters out there now.
The reason why they appear relative
is because of difference in the distance.
Yes, because
it's relative.
The sun is millions and millions.
So you're teaching me the heliocentric model.
Yeah, because
okay.
That's the way it is.
Well, guess what? I learned the heliocentric model, but then I looked at the flat Earth model.
And where did you get your info?
And I choose the flat Earth model. I have done some of my own experiments, and I have gone on this website, which I helped to create, and I am watching some of the videos on here. Did you get one of these?
I did.
Okay, so you can look at that. You can watch some of the videos, and there's no reason like to argue. I mean, we're not doing that, but I'm just saying that what you're teaching me is something I already knew, and I'm not a dummy. I mean, I really understood all of the stuff I was taught, okay? And then I saw this, and I compared the two, and I said, I choose this. It makes so much more sense to me.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But I still don't
because
understand why, even if something would make sense more, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the same thing, or like that's the truth. Because like if something.
Well, you can't prove anything the heliocentric model is putting out.
Yeah, and there's science backing it up.
No, there's science here.
Where?
There's science.
What's the difference between the level of science and
so in order to have an open mind, you have to go into a subject without any preconceptions. You can't be prejudiced. All right? So you coming here and knowing, oh, you're teaching me the heliocentric model. That means you have a bias. You have a prejudice in your mind. And nothing I say is going to be open to comparison. You won't even compare these two.
I am comparing them.
Okay, you're trying. I know you're trying.
Yeah, I look at them. I'm trying to come at this as not. I'm trying to come at this from just as like a scientist perspective. Not just
well, you are not going to get it today, and I'll tell you why. It took me, I spent 2 weeks just on perspective itself. Just it can't be true. It can't be true. And then when I stopped telling myself it can't be true, I really looked at it. And I even prayed. I said, God, are you going to catch me if I fall? Those are my exact words, because this is a scary thing. If this is true, then holy crap, there's a lot of lies out there. Our government is lying to us about vaccines, all this stuff. Autistic kids. My heart breaks every time I see an autistic kid because I know they were caused by vaccines. Look, there's that bee. He came as a sign. Do you believe in signs and wonders? God does. Don't be afraid, he won't hurt you. So, yeah, you have to have an open mind. You just say, okay, I have this here, I have this here. Now, let's find out what's true. But you can't say this way. And I'm trying not to do this because I have seen both of them. I came into it like this, now, and then I looked at it like this. Now I'm over here. See? And that teaches you something about yourself. Like
some of this just doesn't make sense. Like I'm not looking at it just as the heliocentric model.
All right, pick one thing, one issue, and then we'll talk about both ways. And
so, going back to your theory about airplane windows.
Okay.
I walked over. I didn't hear the beginning of the conversation, but I walked over when you said that the outside is curved.
There's 3 layers to an airplane window, and the pressure changes. And then it moves inside, and it kind of has the outside corners are curved. So, because somebody took a picture from a runway, the airplane was on the runway, and it goes straight, and then it goes bloop, like that at the corners, and then it makes you think, oh, well, then that's the curve, you know. And like you're telling yourself these things because this is the paradigm that you're under. This is the bias that you've been taught.
Runways always go and then just drop off.
No, I'm saying that the little yellow line on the runway, through a window of an airplane, it goes straight, but then it curves down at the ends.
That's just because we can't see it.
No, you're coming up with a bias. Now, what would be...
No, I'm going off of what scientists...
Okay, what would be... You know what I found is the footage out of a cockpit window is totally different. And I have seen a lot of footage out of a cockpit window. In fact, I dated a pilot who owned an airport, Perkiomen Airport. He's gone now, but I flew a lot. My father was a pilot. I never flew with him. He flew out of aircraft carriers. He was a math teacher. And then my son, physics major. Matter of fact, you remind me of my son. How tall are you?
6'4".
That's my son. He's 6'4", and he's kind of built like you too. So yeah, there's just so much to this, and you're never going to get it in one day.
Does your son agree with you?
No, he does not know this.
He does not know it?
He does not know this. He's like most people. He said, Mom, I will talk with you about this one day, just not today. Like, he's still trying to find his way in life. He's just got a new job, and, you know, there's a lot of things he's dealing with. So I'm going to respect him, but he promised me he would talk to me about this. So one day I'm going to say, let's go talk about this now. But he's got to prepare himself mentally. And when you have children and you love them, then you're not going to push them into something they don't want to do. It might mess with their head. But you came over here, so you wanted to know something. So I'm just talking to you and telling you something.
Also, I have another question. I don't know if you guys already brought this up, but so you're okay. So the Earth, it's flat, but can we agree that the other planets are round?
No.
Then what is?
You cannot tell if they're three-dimensional through a telescope. We never landed on the moon. Okay, we never landed on the moon. You can't land on the moon. It's not a rock. It's some. Have you been there?
It's proven that it's a rock. We've gone there, taken samples, and brought it back.
Have you ever been
Denmark tested that sample, and it was a petrified tree stump.
We've taken more samples from
We've
gone there multiple
space
times.
museums with samples in them.
I know, and you believe everything you've been told. I'm sorry. It's not true. You can't land on it. I've had physicists say it's plasma, and I think it's a filament.
What do you mean filament?
Like a light bulb kind of a deal.
Like
The
a light
free-flowing electricity goes through it. And it's kind of like the moon's cathode and the sun is anode.
Is it out right now? Sometimes you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can see it sometimes. Yeah. And I think that it's not a reflection on the moon that lights it up. I think it's the side that's receiving the energy first lights up. And did you know you can look through the moon? Because in the daytime it's blue.
Yes.
The dark part is blue.
Yes.
At nighttime you can see stars through it.
Because of the sky.
You can't.
You can't.
Really? Have you ever tried?
You can't see stars through the moon.
Well,
it's a rock.
we have
I-
testimony of that.
I've
So
spent many nights looking out at the moon,
Yeah.
and I cannot see through it.
I've never seen a star through a moon.
never? Well, we have astronomers that have
Also, explain.
testimony, and I think I've seen like one or two myself, and not through a high-powered telescope though. But when you look through a telescope, you can't see three dimensions. Even Jupiter with its moon, or the spot, I think is more another translucent type object that just keeps going across it. Maybe it's a moon that goes around it, but that red spot is just going across. It's not going around it, and it's not rotating.
So you're saying the storm on Jupiter is not really a storm?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So now how does that relate to the surface of the Earth anyway? A lot of people go above to the stars because that can't be proven at all. So they'd rather ignore the evidence of the curvature missing and go to the planets and the stars because that's provable,
But
right?
the whole thing is that the universe it has a certain amount of rules to it, and there's not a lot of things that are freak difference. So say if it's been proven multiple ways that the other planets are round.
And I'm telling you to prove it to yourself with your own physical experiments. No.
I've looked.
You cannot
and I've
prove
done
any kind of star experiment at all. You can't do any of that. But you can go find curvature and not find it.
One of your
You
things
can.
in the pamphlet was here. Where is it? Pamphlet. You compare the amateur photo to a NASA photo.
Yeah.
How much did that camera cost, and what kind of technology, what is it?
That's just one example. There's many, many, many of those.
Yeah, but you chose to put that into the...
Well, I didn't make up that brochure, but it doesn't matter because this is just one example, and then you have to go research this. See? And same thing with this. You have to research that. I did tell you about perspective and whatnot, but this is just to get you starting to think. I hope you look into this. I hope you research it. Go to the website and it'll give you 200 proofs from Eric Dubay on that website. But this is really what it looks like. I'm convinced it looks like this, even though I can't prove exactly on the edge where it comes down or whatever. I know the politicians like John Kerry flew in 300 miles from the edge of Antarctica and was down there for some religious ceremony last year. Now, why would they do that? And I don't think that the interior of Antarctica, or the exterior in this flat Earth model, I don't think that it's icy cold. I think it's warm.
Then how is there ice?
On the edge, just like Alaska has ice.
Just on the edge.
But if you go to the North Pole, I think you're going to find it's warm there. I really do. I think it's warm there. And
Then you should go there and prove that for yourself.
you can't. You're not allowed. And they have all... No, you can't. No. I have already proven to myself that there's no curvature.
So every single scientist that has gone to the North Pole and Antarctica is lying to us.
99%.
Even if a flat Earth believer went to Antarctica and the North Pole, stood there, they could not possibly say that it's not cold.
Amelia Earhart believed the Earth was flat.
Back then, they did not have the technology to prove that.
Oh, here we go with technology. But they had intelligence. They could see that
And
this...
we have intelligence nowadays.
Not like we used to. I think we're getting dumber.
Oh, I agree. We're getting dumber.
Good
Because
job.
we don't educate our kids properly. But people don't think for themselves.
Do you find any value in anything I said?
Oh, I think it's interesting with the things that you're.
Do you think you will watch the video that's on there?
I might if I have time. But I think you make some compelling points, and that.
With the internet, we can talk to people all over the world.
Oh yeah.
So when I talk to somebody in Australia...
if you believe in something, then you can find another person who would believe in that.
Well, if I talk to somebody in Australia and they just describe the sunsets down there and all that, that kind of fits this model. And here's centrifugal force. Up here, there's no centrifugal force because it's on the axis. But down here at the equator, it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, okay? Because the equator is 24,000. So in a 24-hour day, it's 1,000 miles an hour. So you don't think we would at least weigh less because of that force? We don't weigh less there.
The whole reason weight is a thing is because of the weight is how much force you are exerting on the ground. So you're saying that the force is coming from above, below.
The centrifugal force would be coming from the globe model, which would be gravity. Okay.
So what is the
alternative?
The alternative, yeah.
The alternative is there's no centrifugal force. The flat Earth model has no centrifugal force.
Mm-hmm.
And NASA wouldn't have to make up stuff. NASA wouldn't have to make up stuff. They wouldn't have to have harnesses and wires and go in the vomit comet. They wouldn't have to have this desalinated pool and put their ISS in there. They wouldn't have to.
The thing is, with the pool, it's to experience what it's like to be in a lower state of weightless.
And what about the vomit comet? And why are they passing it off as real footage? No, it's not.
Why would we make up going to the moon to prove what the Soviets wrong? That we're better
No,
than
to
them?
fool us. To fool
But
us
the whole thing was
into
during
believing
the
this.
space race.
You know why there's a big difference? Because this requires no creator. This is an accident, just the way it is. And this requires a creator.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody knew this was a created realm,
Mm-hmm.
we'd all be looking for the creator. And we would be subject to the creator. Even the government. The government is not subject to anything under this model. They can do as thou wilt, which is the
Sometimes I feel
mantra.
like we need to separate politics and religion. I think.
So you think that this is religion?
What you're saying it requires a creator, correct?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
religious.
not defining who the creator is. You got to figure that out yourself.
Well, there has to be some person.
Well,
or
I think it's
some
interesting
entity.
that you're in the youth group at a church and you're questioning if there's even a creator.
You gotta ask questions.
Okay, so question that, and when you figure out the earth is flat, then you'll go on your knees and you'll say, holy crap, God, I've been doubting you all this time.
And if I do find that out, I will.
Because I'll tell you what, it brought me to my knees. There, wow, this is the key to all other problems in our world. This is the key. Like everything, like forced vaccinations, like wars, like...
How does that relate to what the earth looks like?
Because the government is in charge of the lies. If the government can fool us, they can rule us.
There's ways to prove the government wrong. Like vaccinations.
That's a lie.
You say vaccinations.
I don't even believe in immunity.
You don't believe in immunity.
No, I don't. I believe that we
So-
have an immune system, but there is not a thing where you can have the chicken pox and you're immune from the chicken pox anymore. You know why?
Why?
Because when that virus gets in you or whatever it is, it hides in there. And when you get old and you go through high stress, you get the shingles. That's the same frickin' thing, only it's a lot stronger and harder. It comes out in a different way, but it's still the chicken pox.
There's no way that it can hide in there without us detecting.
Oh, really?
And also,
Research herpes.
those are two different viruses.
You don't know any of that. You don't know that.
When a disease enters your body,